What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fresh Off the Set. I'm David Osmond, your host. Glad to be here today with a really good buddy of mine, and one you might recognize from a lot of comedy, a lot of laughs, and good times. He is Shaun Johnson, and is the creative mind behind the viral comedy channel, The Johnson Files. And if you have not seen The Johnson Files, go check it out. He, along with his wife, Nicole, they deliver this relatable brand of humor that has entertained audiences all over the world through their hundreds of online videos. Content creator. It's not always what you've done, but it seems to be a sweet spot that you found that brings so much joy to you and to others. So you're traveling, you're doing improv comedy, doing stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, and even music. So I'm glad to have you here. We'll talk about your life, what's to come in the recent, and dates that you've done, and also the near future. Thank you for coming to the podcast studio for Fresh Off the Set.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is cool. I mean, again, this is something that I don't know if you've always envisioned yourself as doing. If you're living your best life, you're in a sweet spot of getting a lot of attention, a lot of followers, moments that go viral online. And as a comedian, that's a very unique job to have.
Oh, yeah.
But you weren't always a comedian. What was life like when you just kind of started out? You from Utah?
I'm from Utah, went to UVU, got married, went into pharmaceutical sales, animal pharmaceuticals, worked that for many, many years. Just kind of made the videos on the side, did the comedy as a hobby, and it just grew and grew. And yeah, I never would have thought to be touring or doing it as an actual job. Even just a couple weeks ago, I got asked to do a little career day, be one of the booths at a career day. And I was like, you don't want to encourage kids to do this as a career. Like, even I'm like, can I do this as a career?
Is it like the take your daddy to work day and everyone's like, here's the firefighter and the lawyer and...
It was a church thing, and they're like, let's give the kids a taste of all these different jobs. And I'm like, I'll just do my old job. Let's not encourage them to do the comedian thing.
So you just have, like, at your booth, it's just one straight stand and a mic.
Exactly. Just like speak. Hopefully like, they like
Seinfeld.
It. Yeah.
What about these airplanes? Kids are so confused. Okay, remind me, what is it you do, Dad?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I didn't do the career day, but it is surreal because we started out, my wife and I lived in South Florida, and we were just putting goofy little videos on actually her personal Instagram account, which was private. And then people would try and share it, and they couldn't because she was private. So they'd message her and say, hey, I wanted to send this to my sister or whatever, and I couldn't. So we were like, well, I guess we could create a channel that has funny stuff on it, you know? And so we started Johnson Files, and then it just grew and grew. The platform grew. The length of videos you could make grew, and it just became more and more fun and more of a thing. So yeah, it kind of just happened.
So it was your wife's responsibility for you getting into this career.
It is. I mean, I was doing the stuff, but she'd whip out the camera and be like, this is so stupid. What are you doing? And then she'd post it, and that's kind of how it all started.
And it was at that point you realized, I want to do comedy as a profession.
Well, I had done comedy through college, improv comedy, as sort of a side hustle, just doing live shows and things. And so I always enjoyed it. But truth be told, when I moved to Florida, I had kind of accepted, like, okay, those days are over. That was fun, but that was a college thing, and now you got to grow up and be a big boy, and you got to go and, make money. So I kind of just wrote it off, and this was kind of, Johnson Files kind of brought it back into my life, and I realized, oh, wait, can I still do this? And maybe even do it to another level that I never thought I could do, you know, and so that it was a real blessing, honestly, to be able to get back into it.
That's cool. So you're doing a lot in your sketch comedy. Your channels are getting a lot of attention. You got a lot of followers. You go and do these stand-up shows, which you did a big one, which is now streaming on Dry Bar Comedy.
Yeah,
that's out there. And now this next one you're doing right away is going to be kind of the follow-up to that one. It's called Big Kid.
Big Kid. Yeah.
And you're about to hit the road on tours and go do that stand-up thing.
Yeah.
What do you anticipate? What are you most excited about for this? And why do you call it Big Kid?
I call it Big Kid because there's so many bits that I'm talking about us as kids, but we're really not that different as adults, really. You know, we know how to like compose ourselves a little better, but we're all really just big kids. That's kind of the theme of some of the material. But what I'm really looking forward to, and what I always look forward to, is just getting to be present with my audience. Because when you make comedy online, you don't hear the laughs. You just put the video out there, and then you're like, I think they're laughing. The comments are there, you know, sometimes, but most people don't comment. You know, you watch it, you laugh, and you move on. So the live shows are really the only opportunity as a comedian to get to hear, like, oh yeah, there they are. I can hear them. They're present. And so what motivates me to keep making content is the live shows that I get to go and actually perform.
Immediate reaction.
Yeah, to feel that, and then I can ride that out for another 8 months to a year before I get to do it again. So yeah, that's my favorite part.
Do you test out your material before you go and hit the road on tour? tour. I know a lot of comedians go to these other markets and they take tons of notes and they just workshop right before their big HBO special or Netflix special.
Right.
Do you get that opportunity, or do you just let's go? Like, this is it. You're going to hear it in the raw, and this will be like the first reaction back.
No, I have to at least get a gauge in front of an audience. So I will do little test shows that I kind of put on myself. I don't, I got 2 little boys, 3 and 1 year old. I'm not in a place where I can do the comedy club life where every night you're in a different city at a different club. And that a lot of comedians, that's what they do. They just repetition. And it's not easy when you got little boys. So I basically refine it to the most finite degree I can to where I'm like, I think this is like 90% there. And then I put it in front of a little test audience and maybe make some tweaks. But it's not the traditional side. I would like to get the reps in that a typical stand-up comedian gets, but I don't have that luxury. But the last time it went great. So I'm sticking with my formula here of what I do.
From choice, you say you want to be home. You got the 3 and the 1 year old.
Yeah.
Your wife, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you guys been together? And then having these new 2 additions is just, me as a dad, I know it's just changed my life so much for the better in so many incredible ways. So much material comes through that life too. But what is it about that world that inspires you and why you don't want to go on the road forever?
Yeah, we've been married 14 years, and we had a pretty long infertility journey to get to where we are now. That's why we only have a 3 and a 1 year old after 14 years. So for me, they're here now. I waited a long time for them to be here. I want to keep performing, but I'm not willing to just go on the road and be gone all the time. It's just not something that I'm interested in. I've waited too long to have these guys that now I'm just going to miss all this stuff. So I'm going to keep doing it my way and at the intermittent intervals that I can do it and keep doing the online stuff, and it works for us.
When you grew up, did you have a bunch of siblings? You grew up in Utah, right?
Yeah, grew up in Orem, 3 younger brothers, and so 4 total. And yeah, family's important to me. Utah's important to me. I'm right where I want to be doing what I want to do. So I'm not looking to just hit the road and head to New York or any of these other places. If the road takes me there and I can work it into my life, then great. But I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I have a great audience, great fan base that loves what I do and loves this goofy stuff. So I'm like, hey, let's keep.
It's relatable. So many people are feeling it. And I think it is because you have that realistic touch. And now you look back when you were a kid and you have your siblings, and now you're in the position as husband and father and have that relationship with your own kids. It's incredible. For most parents, they're kind of thinking, how did I get here and what do I do? And there's no roadmap for this. There's no manual. You feel like, am I doing things the right way? I would imagine a lot of your comedy material comes from that place of now being dad.
It for sure
learning
does.
from your kids. And
there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that in the stand-up show, but ironically enough, so I have a lot of viral videos from way before I have kids, but they're about kids. Like the kid that won't go to bed on time was a really viral video I had. Toddlers saying "Mom, watch" all the time was a viral video I had. So people would assume, oh, this is a father. He's got a lot of kids. That's where all this material's coming from. But I had no kids. I was more just an outsider watching other people with their kids and seeing like, look at this hilarious thing that's happening. I'm going to make a video on that. And funny enough, it was easier to make fun of and make videos about when I wasn't in it. Because I was like an observer, I could see the comedy in it because I'm not in the trenches of it.
Yeah.
And so that's been an interesting thing I've learned is I think it's a lot easier with anything in life, to see the humor in it is easier than when you're in the thick of it, right? That's why you always see what something is funny, even a trial, after you've gotten past it, right? In the moment, it was kind of hard to see why it was funny. So I have to work harder now, actually, to find the comedy because I am the toddler dad now.
When you're up against the trees, you can't see the forest, right?
Totally.
So you take a step back and okay, I see a different angle.
Yeah, that is funny, actually. Yeah.
And it's nice to have, like, your wife, to be able to have someone to bounce off of
for sure.
Honestly, to give that constructive criticism.
And she's the idea generator. She'll come and be like, hey, I'm seeing this online, or moms are dealing with this. I don't know what the punchline is, but maybe you can do something with that. And so she kind of is the launch pad for a lot of ideas.
I love, just being friends off camera, off set, and seeing you and, just as dad too. Even the other day when I saw you hanging with your son, it's just a cool bond you have, and you can see the passion that you and your wife have of playing that role. I remember my dad growing up in show business and, 60 plus years of living an incredible career.
Yeah.
So many people would come up to him and say, okay, so how do I get started in this business? And one of the first things my dad would always say is, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give up?
Yeah.
Because you'll have to have things that have to go the byway. And then you have to pick and choose your battles. Where are your priorities? What do you have in line to keep yourself in check, to spend the time where you want? And to hear you talk about how you don't want to be out there just a road rat and gone and miss your family. You're picking and choosing your battles so you can be there present is awesome. And I commend you for you and your wife for that. What is the best part for you and your wife and why you made that decision to be parents first? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's different. For us, I think we had so many years, just us. Like I said, now that we're here and we've started parenthood, we had mentally anticipated and prepared for that for so long. And so we just feel super, grateful and want to be present and just do it, because when you think about something for that long, then you're not going to miss it, right?
Yeah.
Like you're there for it. So I feel blessed that we're in an era where it wasn't always that way. If you wanted to do comedy, especially live stage comedy and tour at all, you kind of had to pay your dues, go to the comedy clubs and grind it out every night and hope to get noticed. We live in a world where you can kind of put yourself out there, and if it's good and people like it, you can self-produce, And so that's been a huge blessing that I've been super grateful for because it's very conducive to family life.
Absolutely. And it's worth the time to spend there. I can tell that you have that with you and your wife, your story of being able to get your family here. We've had conversations here on this podcast with fertility specialists, and that struggle alone is hard. I'm sure that's been a difficult time for you and your wife, but also maybe some of the material that came through that to be able to see the lighter side of it, to draw from it and laugh through the hardship. Does the comedy, it's just in you. Some people say, oh, well, you have to try hard to be a comedian, and then there's always the people that are just funny. And knowing you even on and off camera, it's like you create it naturally, right? It's something that's there. Were you always the comedian? Were you always the class clown before you got into comedy? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was always making up stupid songs since a very young age and stuff. So it's funny that I'm still doing that as an adult. Back to the big kid theme. But yeah, certain people are more apt maybe to be funny, but you don't have to be funny to laugh. Everybody can laugh. And I do think that's a choice. I think you can choose to, when you're going through something hard, just focus on how hard it is and be mad all the time, or just accept it and laugh at some stuff. Yeah. I've had that comment many times on even the parenting videos I've made where the kid's going, Mom, watch. It's kind of annoying, right? Like I've watched already. But then I'll make a video about it, and I've had parents say, thank you for that video, because now it used to bug me, but now when he does it, I just laugh because I think of your video. And it is funny. Like this thing he wants me to see is so silly and pointless. And I should just laugh at it. Why was I annoyed? And so some things are hard. They're just going to be hard, but there's a whole lot of things in the category of like, just laugh it off. Like it's really not that big of a deal. You can get through that.
Any moment come to your mind in your career as a comedian, as a content creator, of the levity side of it that has surprised you? Like a memorable moment that just maybe changed your perspective on this career that you appreciate and means a lot to you? Because from your angle behind the mic, it's different than anybody else sees. Is there anything that comes to mind that was just like, just something you'll never forget?
As far as like an experience doing the comedy?
As a performer, whether it's the sketch comedy or the reaction from your audience, from the live shows, or something from an artist, a comedic artist that surprised you, and now you see things from a different angle.
Yeah, I think, we're going the trial, laugh through the hardship route here. So I'll share. I've been very surprised over the years making these silly videos that to me in the moment was just like, this is kind of funny. Let's film this, put it up. When you accumulate them all together, I've had people come up and say, hey, I was going through chemo and I just scrolled your channel and I'm laughing while I'm going through the chemo, and so things like that I just never really thought when I was being a goofball in a wig that somebody was going to hug me and say like, you got me through COVID, or you got me through this other hard thing. And so kind of what we're talking about, the levity, the laughter, it seems frivolous, but I've been pretty touched and grateful for the impact it can make. Even though that wasn't my goal, like I'm going to make people laugh so they can get through the hard times.
I was
just doing it because it's fun, right? Which I think anybody is, right? But it's so cool to see the impact it can have, and music is similar, right? Any art form that can console or soothe or help give someone perspective. It wasn't why I did it, but I've had some really fun, neat experiences from that.
I'm so glad to hear that. And yes, laughter is the best medicine. It is it is a great art form, and it takes a lot of time to craft that, even though you're naturally funny. But to be able to try the cadence of things, and especially in a stand-up, that's a whole different realm. In a sketch comedy, you can edit and retry and reshoot and do all that. But when it's live and it's raw, like that is an art form that also is something real. When you're live there connecting with an audience, you can feel the energy in the room. Right?
And there's no feeling like saying something you thought was going to get a laugh in front of 1,000 people, and it gets a low rumble. It
just bombs.
And you're going,
Guys, that's funny.
That was kind of the big moment of that bit. I guess we're going to move on to the next.
And the little one that you didn't even think twice about is just they're roaring and they're
I just did a test show for this upcoming tour, and there was a part of the show that I just thought was like a passing joke. It was funny. It's a good joke. It's not like the joke.
Yeah.
And it got a full applause mid-show. Like we had to break for a second while they applauded. And I was literally I think you can see it in my video of the test show. I'm going, okay, that is not what I thought. Great, I'll make a note of that. You guys like that one? Okay. So you really can, sometimes you never know. I always joke with my wife, the videos that took me 1 minute to film and post go 10 times more viral than the one that took me 6 hours to edit, and I was meticulous about it. So you just never know sometimes.
Is there a go-to thing on stage? Do you have like a quiver full of jokes, like you just pull this arrow out and here we go? One will deliver, and maybe one you've even been known for. Is there any kind of joke? That's honestly a hard one because you're such an improv comic. Everything is being created on the fly.
There's definitely moments I've got it all scripted, but then the improv comes out in the moment and I start going off
and riffing
book. But that's a dangerous thing because when you've got the path in your brain, the more you go off of it, then finding your way back can be a struggle.
And so if you get lost,
I try and stick to it.
How do I transition?
I get to the end of that and I was like, well, that was fun. Back to the point. What were we doing? Because then the rest of the show, it's all just connecting dots, you know. And so it's tough. But in the improv shows, I always love bringing people on stage. We interview them. We make up a song about them and stuff like that. We have sort of our go-to bits for those. But the stand-up, it's challenging. I can totally. I used to kind of hear interviews of comics that I looked up to, and they described the process, and I just thought, wow, that just seems intense. It intimidated me a little bit, but and when I finally dove into it, I was like, man, it's tedious to create it, and then the reward is when you get to do it and you hear the reaction, and so it's worth it.
Who are your comedic idols? The ones you emulate, you look up to, you're like, and been inspired by?
Probably the two I would say. I mean, there's many, but probably Jerry Seinfeld and Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Conan O'Brien comes from an improv background, and I just see him as like the best because he's so off the cuff. They can take Conan to a place with no plan, to a factory, and say, all right, interact with the people, Conan, and then you get gold. I mean,
material you never would have ever thought.
You can't script
a lot of people. It's crazy.
The stuff he scripted, you're going, that was okay. The best part was when he just kind of went and was Conan, Yeah. So I love Conan O'Brien, and Jerry Seinfeld growing up was just for sure an idol.
To see things, the obvious that we all miss, and then be able to identify it and then
like,
twist
why
it.
haven't I thought?
Has anybody seen this? Now you've been doing this now, obviously for a long time. You've got your 10,000 hours. You're getting traction. You're getting notoriety. A couple of questions I want to hit with the time we have left. First, what's the future hold for you? You've got the Big Kid Tour coming up. You're going to hit a bunch of dates. I want to talk about that so people know they can come out and support you. But beyond that, what are your goals in your going ahead in your life as a comedic artist? What would you like to do? What's your bucket list?
I would love to keep performing solo. I find it very enjoyable. I've loved for years performing with some of my best friends. We've had a blast. I mean, we've just gotten to tour around doing what we love. So we've enjoyed the improv, kind of whose line is it anyway style shows. Yeah. The solo shows are when I really get to connect one-on-one with the audience. So I want to keep doing that. I think it would be really fun to bring some comedy back to film a little bit. We don't make comedies I'm not in Hollywood, but Hollywood, you don't see a lot of comedies anymore. It's almost like it's a dying art form, comedic movies. So I'd love to get some of my friends together and just make a funny movie. So that's on the bucket list as well. I'd love to do something like that. But in general, I'm truly just happy performing for the fans that like what I do. And so honestly, if I just kept doing that, I mean, you look at comedians like Jerry Seinfeld, which are obviously totally different realm, but he doesn't need any money right now. Like he had the number one show on NBC for 9 years, so, but he keeps touring. I mean, I just saw him a couple years ago in Salt Lake, right? Why is he doing it? Because truly, if you love comedy and you love hearing that laughter to something that you crafted and created, that's an addiction. And so you can see why these old comics keep doing it. When you ask me that question, I'm like, I mean, I'd love to just kind of keep doing that.
From Conan to Seinfeld to Gaffigan to, I mean, anyone that is in this realm, it's a very hard job. I've always had mad respect for anyone that does stand-up, because a singer can go out and sing their hit record over and over, and I know my material, and it's always going to hit.
It's they like the song. Here we go.
But you go out and do the same bit over and over a little too much. It's like, you got to keep it fresh and relevant and current. And then also to be the clean comic, to be able to go into like a dry bar and not be so dry that there's no laughter. Like that's a very fine line. How do you stay within that? I mean, you purposely go into that realm of, I'm not going to go for the easy laugh, and I'm going to go clean comedy, like so many Bargatze, and so many people that take the time to craft their work. Yeah. And that's been your endeavor, from what I can tell.
For sure, yeah. Clean comedy, I think it's better. I'm better. What I mean is, it's a little harder, and it's not the easy joke like you're saying. When I moved to Atlanta years ago, I wanted to still do improv. This is when I first got married, and I just hooked up with a comedy club there. They said, yeah, you got experience. Come jump in a show with us. And I was like, oh, my gosh, this is all they do. I mean, everything they said was for shock value. That was just the whole strategy. And I was instantly like, this is not for me. Like, I just do not. I don't enjoy this. It's not smart. There was an interview actually with Jerry Seinfeld. I think he's in Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, has Norm Macdonald on. And Norm Macdonald wasn't clean, but he was saying,
quick.
Yeah, he was saying, he's very funny, but he wasn't one of the ones that was just for shock value, but he wasn't clean. But he was saying to Jerry, he's like, the older I get, I realize it is the harder, better comedy. He's like, I've gained respect for it, because you can't just get that shock factor. So it's harder. You don't rely on that, but it's just not who I am. Even if I tried to be that, it wouldn't be me.
To be authentic.
Yeah. And authenticity is huge. That you can't be fake up there. You got to be yourself. And so.
And you are yourself. You bring a lot of your talents to the stage. Your wife helps you craft it. One thing that's unique to you, and we've talked about this, and it's my love language too, is the music. So you use a lot of music in your performances. Where did the music come from, and how did you become the musician of sorts that you are? Do you play keys? Do you sing? I mean, you got a whole bunch.
I play guitar. I sing. I got a musical family. We've always. I mean, if I wanted to, I always tell this to the Gentry guys. Like, guys, if I wanted to, just cut the comedy. I could sing your songs, and I could totally hang with you guys. Like,
it's not that hard with you guys.
Yeah. Sustained talking. That's what you guys
do,
right?
Go, yeah.
But I really do love singing. But being able to combine it with the comedy has been great. I've had a few clips where the comments are like, wait, I didn't expect that. He could actually sing, like it was funny, but I didn't expect it to sound good. So I like to think that I kind of can meld the two. Both my stand-up shows, I come out to an opening song, I close with a song, and there's songs throughout. So it's usually in line with the subject that I'm talking about. There'll be some song related to it. So it's fun.
Nice. Well, speaking of your shows that are coming up, remind us where we can go. Those are listening right now. I know it's this spring. Yeah. So if you're listening after that, you've missed it. But if you are listening before, where do we go for tickets? Yeah,
johnsonfiles.com. It's always where we have our whole tour or upcoming shows. It'll link you to your city, to the venue in your area. We're hitting all the Utah, north, south, central, Idaho, Colorado, Arizona, that whole western little block there. We're doing it all. So
that's cool. We'll definitely come out and cheer you on. Try not to heckle you too much.
Yeah,
I haven't had. You ever had a heckle moment?
No, because like I said,
we gotta make that happen.
I'm not.
I'm gonna hire somebody.
You know what's funny? I said to my wife, like, I should stage a heckler with an audience. Just say, I never get them, guys. Can we do one here real quick? And just get a clip. Because now I feel like that's all the viral clips you see of stand-ups is them dealing with hecklers.
So you're gonna script it out?
Yeah, I could make it happen. But the thing is, I don't do the comedy club thing. That's when you're performing for strangers, and that's where you get heckler. When I do a Johnson Files produced stand-up
and
show.
people paid
It's my
to come
fans.
see you. They know you. They're like,
yeah, they're not coming to
already in the
heckle
boat.
me,
Yeah.
right? They're already here like, hey, we support you. We've been to your shows before. So I have not, I think that's the last probably baptism by fire that I would need to go through is I've never been heckled. And every comedian says, you got to have a heckler. You got to know how to deal with it. And I'm like, I don't want to.
I don't know what you mean. Dude, you ever heard of like panto shows? You know what panto is? Over in England, it's huge, especially during the holidays. It's like a Monty Python puts on a musical type of thing.
Okay.
But there's no fourth wall. In fact, they encourage the heckling.
They want you
and
to
they're
yell
fun
out.
shows to do. They're awesome. So you're doing a crazy version of Peter Pan or Cinderella or Snow White, like the Grimm's fairy tales, but it's with a twist, like a Monty Python twist. And the lead is like a terrible singer, and it's very crass comedy for sure. But the cool thing about it is there's no fourth wall, which is where the audience is, and you're almost encouraging that heckling.
Just yell out
to where
whatever
Prince
you're
Charming
thinking.
jumps out in the audience and has a sword fight with the kids.
Yeah,
or
what
something.
did you just say?
And it's just not planned, not where it's going. And to be that improv comic that you are, did you just know you had that? I mean, everybody watches the Who's Line Is Anyway. How does Wayne Brady do that? Or Colin Montgomery? Like, there's so many brilliant minds. Did you know you just had a quick wit? And you're like, I have this.
I knew I gravitated toward it. When I learned to do it, I was surprised how much technique there was to it. Like, there's rules to improv. And you can always tell, really funny guy, but he's new to improv, and he's like a bull in the china shop or whatever they say. You're going, what are you doing, dude? Like, we have to listen. You have to yes and, if you've heard that term.
Oh, yeah, you got to keep the beach ball up in the air.
Yeah, moving back and forth. You're adding information. There's a way we build it. So there's so many techniques to it and rules to follow. So I always say it's kind of half learned and half skill, like natural ability.
How did you learn the skill? Did you just watch a lot of YouTube? Did you go to courses?
I was attending shows at Comedy Sports. I would take dates down there. Comedy Sports is an improv chain, and there's one in Provo.
Provo, Utah, yeah.
Yeah, and so I would go there, and I was just, every time I'm watching, I'm thinking, man, this looks so fun. I would love to do this. Signed up for their workshops, and about a month and a half later, I was on stage doing a show.
Oh, they got you.
It happened really fast, and I was very nervous. All the guys backstage were not prepping at all. They're just drinking their sodas, chatting, and I'm like, guys, show's in 2 minutes.
Should we put some ideas
do we
together?
know what we're doing or what kind of games we're doing? They're like, we'll figure it out when we get out there. I'm like, oh, okay. And so, I was nervous, but in their minds, they're just like, what? We'll just see. We'll see what happens.
But strength in numbers, too, when you have a crew that you can rely on.
When there's trust.
When there is that trust and you know what you're stepping into, you can rely on each other. But going out solo, one-man show.
Totally different.
This is what you're doing right now. I'm stoked for you.
Thanks.
And I understand the response has been fantastic. This is your second go-around, so we wish you incredible success in this. Love to support you. Go check out these shows, johnsonfiles.com. That's where you can get the tickets. Go support Shaun in this and let us know what you think. Last thing I'm going to ask you, there's people listening that maybe they're like, I want to be a comedian. I was an actor. I want to go on stage. I want to be that guy. What advice do you give to these kids or an up-and-coming artist or even kids of all ages, big kids?
Yeah.
Like your comedy tour. They want to get into comedy. What do they
Well, I already discouraged them at the top of the podcast by saying I skipped the career day, if you recall.
That's true.
I wasn't selling the career. But no, I think it's one of those things, for me, you just follow the path as it organically unfolds. I mean, if you got a passion and you want to go grind it out at the comedy clubs and you've got a connection to do it, then do it. Whatever you're going to do, for me, it was the videos. It was consistency and sticking with it and having some flops and then some big successes, but just continuing to make it, continuing to post. In today's world, like we said, you really can kind of put yourself out there on your own and see if people respond. And I guess my advice with that would be early on, when you don't have proven followers and prove it that people kind of accept, okay, well, he's funny, he can do that. You're going to have people in your life like, what are you doing? I saw that video you made. What are you trying to be a comedian or something? You're going to have the doubters, even your friends that are kind of like judgy. So just don't even worry about that. Yeah. Put it out there. Do what's true to you. Don't try and be some other comedian or some other singer or whatever. Be you, authentically you, what you think is funny, and there will be other people that think that's funny too.
I think it's great advice. And there's so many avenues and mechanisms and tools to use to get yourself out there. Yes, it's a saturated world of content.
For sure.
So to rise above, to be the cream of the crop, to be seen is another hurdle to kind of tackle. But using those tools and finding ways, like you have with your online profile and your sketch comedy, have been a huge asset to you to be able to get noticed in a world of so much noise.
And as soon as you're not having fun doing it and you're just worried about how many people liked it or followed, you're probably down the wrong track. You just have to be doing it because it made you laugh. You thought it was funny.
Enjoy the
if we're
process.
talking comedy, yeah. As soon as you're just like, oh, that one didn't get any followers, and now you're all down on yourself. That's not the way to measure.
If it feels
whether
like
something
a
was
job,
good.
a grind, if you don't get up with a passion to want to do something, maybe look at something else.
Absolutely.
You have to love what you do and do what you love, and
Yeah.
you don't work a day in your life, as the saying goes.
That's true.
And it sounds like you're living your best life in that realm, you and your wife. Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
Shaun Johnson, Johnson Files again, everybody. JohnsonFiles.com. Go check that out. Get some tickets. Go support him in this live show. It's overwhelming. It's daunting, and you never know what to expect. So go support him and let us know what you guys think. Sketch comedy artist, musician, singer, performer, comedian, most importantly, husband and father.
That's right.
Grateful that you would take the time to be here, and wish you well on your journey.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks so much, everybody, listening to Fresh Off the Set. Go out there and laugh at something today. What do you say? Thanks again.
Congrats, you made it to the end. If you want to continue to freshen up your day, you can watch us on Fresh Living every weekday on CBS Channel 2 in Utah at 1 o'clock. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, KUTV Fresh Living, and follow us on social media. We will see you next week.